I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. If you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you would already know that the title of tonight's show is somewhat of a question. And the question is, are you moving right along? And the reason why you can be wondering if you're able to move right along is because actually we do have some very positive aspects going on this week, and then there are a few that could create delay. So it might be you that's able to move right along, since there's a wonderful grand trine in fire signs and they denote action. And so that can be reinforcing your activities or your ambition or your goals. And at the same time, there are some wonderful planets in the air signs. In fact, today, the Sun is in Aquarius, the sign of the future, and it also has Mercury there in Aquarius. Mercury's retrograde, though. It's going backward, and sometimes when Mercury goes backward, it means that it's a better time to clear up or tie up loose ends and finish things, and perhaps not start anything, because there might be a little mix-up, mixed messages or crossed wires, and that could be why you may not be able to move along quite as quickly as you would like this week. Those two planets in Aquarius are trining the moon today in Gemini. So it's the lights, the sun and the moon, that are trining each other in the air signs. And the air signs are very conceptual, very creative, and they're very good at communicating, particularly in the sign of Gemini, because Gemini does rule communication and change, and it rules easy or smooth transitions and short-term projects or temporary efforts or short journeys or short forms of education. And it certainly does rule the middleman, because Gemini rules buying and selling. And so this is a time when you can sort of be negotiating for things, and it's an excellent time to do that. So if you're thinking of buying or selling, you should really give that a go right now. So the Sun and the Moon and Mercury are all trining each other in Aquarius and in Gemini, and those three planets are trining the sign of Libra, and Libra does rule peace and compromise, and it rules the law and contracts. And so this is a very good time for us to sort of mend fences if we want to, or try to negotiate some sort of compromise so that we can move along. So at least people have very good intentions right now, and they're communicating better than they have in the past. However, there are some things that could slow you down. So although you could move along, there can still be some delays, and that is because Mercury is retrograde, which means mixed messages, or it can mean that people don't get messages. You could send something, but maybe they're just not going to get it as quickly as you would like. That Mercury is opposing Jupiter in Leo, which is also retrograde. So the Sun, Mercury, and Mercury in Aquarius are opposing Jupiter in Leo, and those three planets are in fixed signs. They are all squaring the sign of Scorpio and the sign of Taurus, which are the financial signs, which once again reinforces the idea that funding may not be available for your wonderful ideas right now, or it just can be that people can be changing their minds or renegotiating. And that's why I'm wondering if you are moving along this week, because yes, you could have great ambition and great ideas, and you could have a lot of energy, but that doesn't mean that there's going to be necessarily an end result at this time. Mercury doesn't go direct until February 3rd, and so that is probably when things will really get underway in a few more weeks. So you should try to be very patient right now. Because there is another aspect that can be going on behind the scenes, and that too can have an effect on your life, even though you may not see what's going on. And that is because there are now three planets in Pisces: Venus and Neptune and Mars. Mars in Pisces is exactly squaring Saturn in Sagittarius, and that is a very harsh aspect. That is an indication that there can be real trouble behind the scenes. Someone could want to make real trouble behind the scenes, and they could be evil or dangerous. and they could be coming up against people who are very high-minded, well-educated, very religious, or who are involved with the courts or administering the law in one way or another. At the same time, though, Neptune is squaring that Saturn, and now Venus has moved into Pisces, and it too is squaring that Saturn. When Venus and Saturn square each other or oppose each other, that's always an indication of betrayal. And so there can be some type of betrayal going on, perhaps as people change their minds, and that too could slow you down, even though you do have good intentions this week. So you're going to have to be a little bit patient, because you may not know everything that's going on behind the scenes, and that could have an effect on the outcome of your plans or your goals instead. All right, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, you know, there is still this sort of push and pull between powerful people in organizations who make the rules and regulations and policies, and your own creative or good ideas. And that is because Pluto in Capricorn is squaring Uranus in your sign, and it's just about exact. It is a harsh square. So you could still be feeling the pressure or the confinement of having to conform to rules and regulations that don't allow you to be as creative as you would like. So you're not able to do your own thing, and you won't be able to do that for a very long time to come, Aries. So since there is a grand trine in fire signs, and there is the lights are trining each other in air signs, you need to get out and network, Aries, and communicate with people and make new plans. The planets that are in Aquarius do sextile your sun, so there is an emphasis on the future right now, and it should be your future, Aries. So if you're thinking of starting anything new, I would not delay. Even if you can't move along quite as quickly as you would like to, you still would be making forward progress. And you could be making new friends, and you could start something new. And that is why I think that you should give that a try, because Pluto will be squaring your sun sign for years to come. And that is why I don't think you're going to get your way where you are, and you ought to try something new, since you are in a very creative frame of mind. Venus has now moved into Pisces right behind your sun sign, and that is a very benevolent and understanding aspect, indicating that now there are people behind the scenes that are willing to sort of speak up for you or back you, and that's why you should give a new start, a real concentrated effort right now if you can, so that you can head off in a new direction. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, this is simply a time when I don't think you're going to feel like spending a lot of money, and that is because the Sun and Mercury in Aquarius are squaring your sun, and Jupiter in Leo is also squaring your sun. So you may have already spent a lot of money over the holidays and been a little bit too extravagant. And also, there aren't any planets in Scorpio anymore, but Scorpio rules taxes, and those are coming up, and they are aspected to be much higher than people think this year, and so you could be facing a tax problem as well. So it's wonderful that Pluto in Capricorn is trining your sun, because that means you could make some sort of forward progress by buying and selling right now, and you could probably dip into a retirement fund if you had to in order to pay bills. The moon is in Gemini right ahead of your sun. You could meet some very nice people right now as you're negotiating something or buying and selling or advertising. So I suggest you do that and be sure and network, because that might help you out of a sticky situation right now. Okay, what does it mean to Gemini? Well, Gemini, this is simply a time with the moon in your sign that there's a lot of light on you, Gemini, which is wonderful because the Sun and Mercury, your own ruler, are trining your sun sign. Mercury is retrograde right now, so that's a little hint, Gemini, that you should go back and tie up loose ends or finish projects right now while you have a little downtime or a chance to do that, because when Mercury goes direct in early February, you're going to be sort of off and running. So this is an excellent time for you to be out among others and for you to attract people who have very good future ideas. So the intentions for people to make new plans for their future are really good right now. And people can be having not only great ideas, but they could be having great connections that can help you out, Gemini. There's also the possibility, since those planets trine the sign of Libra, that you can meet somebody very nice right now, or that you can form some sort of a partnership or negotiate some sort of compromise right now that could work out really well, particularly in terms of some sort of deal that you want to put together. I think you have a good chance of succeeding at that, so I would encourage you to do that. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, this is a time when I think that you benefit greatly from the fact that there are 3 planets in Pisces, Venus, Neptune, and Mars, and they are all trining your Sun, Cancer, which is wonderful. That simply means that if there is trouble behind the scenes, and there are people also that can mitigate that in one way or another, or nullify it and still speak highly for you on your behalf, that will help you in the long run. There's also the possibility with those 3 planets trining your Sun that you will be able to see what's going on behind the scenes, and that's always helpful. So, you know, your sign is a little bit psychic, or, you know, you have good hunches, and I think that you should sort of pay attention to what's going on around you right now. The moon in Gemini is right behind your Sun sign, and that simply means that there's a lot of light on the background of your life, and people can be seeing that you are multi-talented. And that means that there is the possibility that someone will ask you to help them out with some sort of plan or project, and that could lead to a better future for you, Cancer. So there are all kinds of possibilities behind the scenes that can benefit you. And so I would just take one step at a time right now, because I don't think people are going to be able to move on quite as quickly as they would like due to some slowdown in communications or to people changing their minds. Even so, I think that you can sort of go with the flow and know exactly the right people to talk to right now, Cancer, and that will benefit you in just a sort of a quiet way, which is the way you like to operate anyway, so good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, this is simply a time when you may be held up in one way or another, or not able to move forward quite as quickly as you would like, even though there are 3 planets in the fire signs all trining each other. Saturn in Sagittarius is trining your Sun, making you much more serious, or perhaps you could be thinking of committing yourself to something rather serious that is an effort for the long haul. In other words, it could require 2 or 3 years of effort before you succeed in your goal, but you may be willing to make some sort of sacrifice and go along with that, and that would set you up for some sort of benefit that would last you the rest of your life. So that's a good idea. But because Jupiter is retrograde, I don't think that you're able to really move forward as quickly as you would like right now, or you could be having second thoughts about something. And there can be some mixed messages or some delayed communications because Mercury is opposing your Sun sign, and so is the Sun right now, and the Sun is your own ruler. So I don't think everything's going to connect quite as quickly as you would like. However, the moon in Gemini is sextiling your Sun, and that simply means that there are other people around that you can network with or talk to, or that have connections or helpful hints for you right now. So although you may not be able to speed forward right now, you can pick up a lot of good information that will help you in the long run, and it might help you make up your mind about a serious commitment that you have been thinking about in the background of your life. And so this is a good time for you to just mull things over if you can, and be patient with yourself. No one else is going to quite speed ahead as much as they want to either right now. Okay, so what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, lucky you. Mars and Neptune in Pisces have been opposing your Sun sign, which indicates danger or people around who are very jealous and vindictive and could want to harm you. But now Venus has gone into Pisces, and so Venus and Neptune together indicate a lot of creativity, and it does indicate people who are very nice, who have good high ideals and want to see the best for everybody. And so now Venus is opposing your Sun sign along with Neptune and Mars, and that Venus, that love and that feeling of charity, is balancing out any harsh effects from Mars in Pisces, which is good. That means there are people behind the scenes that are speaking up for you and that really do like you. And even though Saturn in Sagittarius is also squaring your Sun right now, I don't think that you are necessarily going to be hurt by anything, but I do think there can be delays, particularly in communications or plans that people have. Other people could change their mind right now and just revise their plans, and that would slow everything down. And that could happen because Mercury is your own ruler and Mercury is retrograde. So try to lower your expectations right now, Virgo. Realize you do have friendly influences behind the scenes that are speaking well of you, but also give yourself a little bit of time right now to tie up loose ends and wait a little while, particularly until about the middle of February before your plans can move forward in an unobstructed way. I think that's better timing. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, this is simply a wonderful time for you, and that is because there are 3 planets in air signs all trining your Sun. The Sun and Mercury in Aquarius are trining your Sun, and the Moon in Gemini is trining your Sun as well. So there are people with very bright ideas and good intentions that may want to include you in their plans because they may want to go along with some sort of a compromise or a renegotiation or even some sort of partnership that you would be interested in, Libra. So I think that you are going to be included in very good plans that people have right now. Those plans could be subject to change, though, because Mercury is retrograde and it is opposing Jupiter in Leo, which is also retrograde. But that Mercury trines your Sun and Jupiter sextiles your Sun. So even if there is a delay in communication or mixed messages or people revise their plans, you are still going to be in the right spot to make some sort of easy transition. Remember, that's what Gemini rules. Or there can be somebody that wants to sort of just ease you into something that you would really enjoy. So I hope you're ready to say yes to something this week, Libra, because I think you'd really like it. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, this is a time when there will be mixed messages. So are you moving right along? I don't think so, Scorpio. And the reason why is that the Sun and Mercury, which is retrograde in Aquarius, are squaring your Sun, and Jupiter in Leo, which is also retrograde, is squaring your Sun. And so that means that you may not get the funding that you would prefer. And that could be a little hard on you right now because you could be, if you are in any kind of negotiation, you could be saying, well, I'm worth this. But I think that other people are changing their minds, or budgets can be downsized right now because perhaps investments are decreasing in value, and so people want to hold on to what they've got a little bit more. You benefit, though, by the fact that there are 3 planets in Pisces, Mars, Venus, and Neptune, and they are all trining your Sun. And so I think that behind the scenes, even if there is a jealous and vindictive person, there is also somebody very loving and very nice who can do right by you, Scorpio. In other words, they can speak up on your behalf, or they can be in a good position to perhaps negotiate better funding for you right now. So I would be patient if I were you, Scorpio. No one is going to be able to move forward as quickly as they would like right now. But I think that if you just sort of stay in one place and you remain very, very calm, the tide will turn. Remember, there are 2 new moons coming up in Pisces in the next 2 months, and they will both trine your Sun. So things will open up for you if you're just patient. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarius? Well, Sagittarius, remember I said that Saturn is in your sign, but it is being squared harshly by 3 planets in Pisces right now. And the trouble can come from the fact that Mars is in Pisces squaring Saturn in your sign, indicating that there can be people with evil intent that can be really looking for you and want to make trouble for you, and you need to stay out of their way. But also, Venus and Neptune are now in Pisces, and when Venus and Saturn square each other, it indicates betrayal. So it can be you that is changing your mind and wanting to leave some sort of situation right now. In other words, that could be a sort of a betrayal, but it might be on behalf of you wanting to make a new start. Jupiter is trining your sun, and so is Uranus in Aries. Well, I think you ought to go for the new start. I mean, we can't all hold on to the past, can we? And so you could go forward right now, but you might have to leave someone behind instead. Or it can be that someone else is deciding to sort of ease on out of your life right now. And that is because they may just want to go and do something creative right now and not be as deeply committed as you are at the present time. So you have to be a little bit understanding if someone decides to leave, or if there is a separation in your life right now. That is not going to stop you from being able to make a new start if you want to, though. So I encourage you to go in a new direction if you can. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, this is simply a time when I think it is you that can be wanting to make a power play on someone who is unstable or unreliable, and you may be wanting to calm them down. But they may prove to be too much for you. They may be so unstable that they just lose it, and they may want to escape or rebel and go their own way. Try not to pursue somebody who is unstable or unreliable right now, and try not to fix a problem, Capricorn, because I think you'll only wear yourself out and you sure won't change anybody. So if you could just back away from that. There are the Sun and Mercury in Aquarius right ahead of your Sun, and you should be focusing on your future. And that is because the air signs are so well aspected right now that if you were to focus on a future dream or a future plan of yours, even if it's a long way off, or even if it only involves a vacation or a trip, it would make you happy, Capricorn. So I think you should try to do that instead. Look forward to something that was really good for your future, and even if you can only take baby steps, go in that direction instead. Don't fight yesterday's battles. It's not worth it. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, the Sun and Mercury are both in your sun sign, and they are trining the moon in Gemini. So you could have great ideas and very good intentions, and you can be networking with people that are interested in change. And there is also the possibility that you can make a very easy transition right now if you want to, Aquarius. Would there be enough money there? Oh, no, not right now, I don't think, because the Sun and Mercury are squaring the sign of Scorpio and the sign of Taurus, which are the two financial signs. And Jupiter in Leo is opposing your sun sign, but it is retrograde, and so it is not at its highest strength either at the moment. So all of us are not going to be able to move along quite as quickly as we would like, but still, even though Mercury is retrograde, if you go back and tie up loose ends and prepare for something new, I think you can do it, Aquarius. So this, I think, is a little bit more of a time of change than you realize. It may be just a change in intention or in plans or in thoughts, but you're going to be able to communicate so well right now. It may be that you even decide to go back to something or revive an old plan, and that would tend to work out eventually for you as well. And then the money will come later. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, Venus has now come into your sign, and it is joining Neptune there. Venus and Neptune together are very highly idealistic and creative, and they always want the best for people. And so that would be wonderful if it were only those two planets in your sign. But Mars is there as well. And Mars can be very destructive, and it can indicate that you can do things that can hurt yourself a little bit, which you don't want to do, or else you can be kidding yourself about things. Well, skip all that right now, because with Venus in your sign, you can rise to your highest good, Pisces, which is wonderful because all three planets in your sun sign are being squared by Saturn in Sagittarius. And that simply means that there can be somebody very serious around who is religious or who is very highly educated, and they can be demanding that people meet very high standards right now. And you might want to just go off and be creative on your own and not pay attention to that. But I don't think you can quite get away from all of that, Pisces. So this is a time when I think that as creative as you are, I think that you are going to need to be a little bit patient. There's a lot of light in the background of your life because the sun is in Aquarius right behind your sun sign, but so is Mercury. So it might be you that's changing your mind about something, or you may have to amend or adapt to different plans for your future simply because other people are changing their plans, and that could make you have to change yours. So I think you need to be a little bit adaptable and very patient. And if there is some sort of betrayal right now, I don't think it's going to hurt you too much, so don't worry about it. All right, thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you can see the show anytime you want by subscribing to it on our website, starborninstitute.org. Bye.